Hi, this video is directed towards new teachers, and the purpose of it is just to refresh you on different philosophies and theories of Jean Piaget, and it is also to give you some ideas on how to incorporate his theories and philosophies into your classroom and how to just keep his philosophies and theories on your radar when considering your children's development. Little bit of background on Piaget is that he believed that there were 5 general periods of development. The first one occurs from birth to 2 years old. This is called the sensory motor intelligence period. This is where babies organize their physical action schemes such as sucking, grasping, and hitting. This is for dealing with the immediate world. The second period is the pre-operational thought period. This is from 2 to 7 years old, where children learn to think, to use symbols and internal images, but their thinking is unsystematic and illogical. It is very different from that of adults. The third period is that of concrete operations. This occurs from ages 7 to 11. This is where children develop the capacity to think systematically, but only when they can refer to concrete objects and activities. The fifth and final period is that of formal operations. This occurs from 11 years old all the way to adulthood. This is where young people develop the capacity to think systematically on a purely abstract and hypothetical plane. One of Piaget's theories that I'm sure you are familiar with is the idea of object permanence. This is when, say, you have a toy and you're playing with a child and you were to put that toy behind your back, they may totally forget about it and not even know that you had it. Piaget said that infants really have no sense of objects existing apart from themselves. So if you were to play with a toy and then have it disappear, they wouldn't look for it. They wouldn't cry because it disappeared. They would just totally forget that you guys were playing with it. But then at stage 3, which is from 4 to 8 months, this is when children may begin to look for the objects in the area that the object left their field of vision. And then by stage 4, which is 8 to 12 months, the students or the children should be able to start finding objects even though they are no longer in their field of vision. For instance, if you were to be playing with a toy truck and then put that truck either behind your back or under a blanket or something, the child should be able to use what they know of where the object left to be able to recover that object again. Piaget also had different theories about children's scientific reasoning. The first one that the book talked about was the conservation of continuous quantities or liquids. And this is when you can have the same amount of liquid in 2 different shaped glasses or containers, and say one is super skinny and tall, whereas the other one is like a regular glass, so it's it's wider, but it's filled up with water shorter. The students will, chances are, say there's more water in the skinnier glass just because the water reaches a higher height, whereas in the regular glass it isn't quite as high of a height, when in reality there is the same amount of liquid in both containers. Even if you were to dump out the liquids into a same container, like each liquid in the same container, for students to see that they actually are the same amount, they may go back to their original theory when the liquid is poured back into the different containers where it looks different. Piaget also had a theory about classification. He did an experiment that showed this where he had all wooden beads. He had 20, although I don't have quite 20, but he had 20 wooden beads, 2 were white and the other 18 were brown, and he had told the children that every single bead was made of wood. Even the white and the brown were both made of wood. And then he had asked them, are there more brown beads or are there more wood beads? And the children had said there are more brown beads because they were so caught up on the fact that there were more brown than white, and they did not think about the fact that they were all actually wood beads. All of Piaget's theories are just about the development of children, and so this will be present in almost every day in the classroom. The children moving up, going through different developmental stages, becoming more intelligent, and being able to think in more abstract ways. You can further this process and make sure that they are staying on track by doing different activities. I know I was placed in a kindergarten classroom this past semester and we did a lot of classification. So like the wood bead example that Piaget gave us, we would have the students classify different things and explain like why they classified it or which groups have more or less. This usually went along with our math standards, so every developmental stage will be able to go along with some standards so you can fit in with either math or language development within your school day. One of PJ's theories that I'm sure you see a lot of in your classroom is the growth of symbolic activity. This is when children begin to use symbols when they use an object or action to represent an absent one. So this includes anything from like make-believe, playtime, like playing pretend. Say the child has a pencil and they're pretending it's a wand or something. So here is my little cousin actually. She is playing with Legos, and the red thing in the corner, I believe she said, was a car, although you would never really think that pile of Legos represented a car, but that's what she thought she was building. So really there are a ton of things that you can do to implement different philosophies and theories into your classroom while also sticking to your standards that you have to teach every day. Like I said, classification and organizing different objects is a great idea. Also, playing with Legos and seeing what they use to represent other things is a great idea. Both of these activities also work with fine motor. The classification works with math. So it really does stick to standards, so it's not like something you just have to do in free time or anything like that. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions.